So now that we're at the X-Carve, we'll go ahead and open up easel. From easel, we'll start a new project. Navigate over to File. We're going to import G-code. Choose File. And we'll start with the plywood maze base. So now if you notice the screen up top, the carve and arrow buttons are blue, which means the machine is either not plugged into the computer or not turned on. So we'll go ahead and turn the machine on. The on switch is in the back below the fan. And give it a second to find itself. So now it's green, which means the machine is on and engaged. So we'll go ahead and select the Carve tab. We're going to be establishing our own home, so we're going to go unlock without homing. And it gives us some warnings here that we're going to disregard. And it starts to walk us through the steps of getting the machine and the program ready. So the first thing we need to do is secure the material. Now for this project, it's pretty small. I'm going to be using double-sided tape to hold the material down. And the double-sided tape can actually be a little bit tricky. If you put too much, it's hard to get the part off. If you don't put enough on, then you lose the part while it's running. I'm going to go with 2 pieces on here, kind of mush them down. And the other thing to look for is that the table bed, that the surface is free of sawdust and it's not too scored up. So if there's a bunch of previous runs on that spot, then it won't stick as well. This table here is a little bit scored up, but it still should hold. I'm going to place it up against this fence on the machine and push it down to where it's nice and adhered. So we can, the material is secure. Now during this process, if the router head is in the way, we can jog it out of the way by using these jog tabs. And the jog tabs can be, the increments can change with this selection box. And currently I have keyboard controls selected, so I can use the up, down, and sideways arrows to navigate the head. So I'm going to move to the next step. So we'll be using a touch-off probe to set our Z height, our up and down height. So I'm going to select the probe option. And I follow the instructions on the screen. It's asking me to move the router head over the material so we can touch off. Now before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and remove the dust shoe. And the dust shoe, typically we're going to run, so that one it's interfering. I need to move the Z head up. If you notice, I'm still on the 1-inch increment. So if I'm very close to the maximum Z height, I can crash the Z height. So I'm going to drop that back down. And I push on the back side of the dust shoe, and it pops right out. Now for the video, I'm not going to be using the dust collection, but when we run, we definitely want to use the dust collection. So now I will navigate. I'm going to go back to the 1-inch increments and do single taps. I found that if you hold the buttons down, it moves way too fast to track. So I'm going to go in that corner, and then I believe so there I was at very high increments as well. That's I could crash the head into the material. So I'm going to navigate a little bit further up, right about there, and I will confirm the position. And then it's asking me to plug in the probe to the machine, and we'll place this underneath, and I'm a little bit close. I'm going to move this out, and I'm going to jog that up a little bit, so now it's directly underneath. Clip is attached. So it's asking to touch the touch-off plate to the bit to verify that we have a circuit. And now we will start the probe. So now our Z location is established. So we remove everything, bring this out of the way. I noticed that this came down, so I'm going to just bring it back up, lock it back in place, put Z probe away. So where I jogged the machine to, it's in this, it's about approximately an inch away from the edge. And I know from measuring my material that I'm going to have plenty of room to cut around. So I'm going to go ahead and set my XY 0 at that point. And I'm not going to use the dust shoe, so I'm going to skip this step. It did not like that, so I'm just going to say that it's attached even though it's not. Now we need to turn the spindle on. I always unplug the spindle when I'm working with the machine until I'm ready to run. So it's unplugged. I'm going to come back to the power strip. I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to turn the router on. And I'm going to carve. So we'll turn off the router. And now we need to jog the router head away from us. I'm gonna lift up the Z a little bit, and then makes quite a mess when you don't use the dust collector. So we always want to use the dust collector. Next, we'll do the top piece. So I've cleaned the table off, and now I'm ready to set up and run the acrylic top piece. So in our same easel file, come up to File, import G-code, and we'll select the Maze top file that we exported earlier. And then we'll go to Carve, and we'll follow the same process. So the acrylic, I will also double-sided tape down, approximately the same amount. And this acrylic piece has the protective covering on it, which is fine. We can leave that on there. You can run it with or without. Mash that down, remove the tape. Or the protective lining on the tape. I'm going to put it in the same spot. Make sure it's fixed to the table. Okay. Let's move on to the next step. We'll use the touch-off probe again since we have a new Z height. Jog the probe over. And I'm approximately an inch or 3/4 of an inch to an inch away from the fence that's on the table. So I'm going to use that position. I'll plug in our probe, attach the clip, and place the plate. So the clip is attached, and I just got to confirm contact. So it looks good. And we'll start the probe. Okay, now I'll put everything away. And the position I'm in right now, 3/4 of an inch away from the fence is good. I'm going to set that as my XY. I'm going to pretend like my dust chute is attached. And I'm going to plug my spindle in, turn it on, and run the program. So now I'll jog away. I'm going to lift up the Z a little bit and move to the 1-inch increments and jog the head away. And I want to make sure I disconnect the spindle, unplug the spindle, and we're ready to go assemble our parts.